Hi everyone, I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today, I'd like to show you a cat emperor figurine. It has an adorable and soft kitten design, paired with delicate and luxurious royal attire. The design is clever, and it's harmonious yet unique. The cat's limbs can be shaped according to your preference. It's really fun. After putting on the clothing, it instantly turns into a dignified and majestic, serious cat. It's both beautiful and fun. Then, let's get to the main topic. There are two styles of the figurines. Both are divided into the main body, clothing, and facial features, 3 sections. Start by making and assembling the main body. After it's done, create the corresponding outfit and attach it. Finally, make the facial features. Let's start with the main body. Here, I'll use the male version as an example. Begin with the legs, the body, the arms, the head. The ears and tail are all parts that make up the figurine. It is made from bottom to top. The legs and body are completed together. Additionally, shaping wire needs to be added during the process. The other parts are completed separately and then assembled afterward. Start by making the legs. Now let's get familiar with the chart. In the table, our plus number indicates the round number. The column for stitch instructions shows the stitch patterns needed when crocheting that particular round, including any increase or decrease stitches required. And the total stitches column indicates the total number of stitches for that round. After all the stitches have been completed, the stitch techniques used include X single crochet and V2 single crochets into the same stitch, A invisible single crochet 2 stitches together, chain and slip stitch. Below, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. For your convenience and to make it clearer, I will use thick yarn for this demonstration. The colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. The cast-on is magic ring. This means the cast-on method is the adjustable magic ring. Use your right hand to pinch the yarn tail. Wrap it twice around your left index finger. 1, 2. There are 3 strands of yarn above. Use your right thumb and index finger to hold where the loops overlap. Take it out. Then wrap the yarn tail once around your left little finger. Pass through between the index finger and middle finger. Transfer the loop to between your left thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the hook between these 2 points. Insert into the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw the yarn through. Crochet 1 more chain stitch to secure it. Keep the hook on the left side of the yarn. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through the loop. 1 chain stitch is now complete. Slightly tighten. The magic ring is now done. Next, crochet the first round. Our 1 is 7x. The number before the X indicates how many. Crochet that many single crochets. This means inside the magic ring loop. Crochet 7 single crochets. Start with 1 chain stitch as the beginning chain for the single crochet. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. This beginning chain is not counted in the chart. In reality, when crocheting in rounds, you need to work a turning chain at the start of each round. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. Then, work single crochets into the magic ring loop. Insert into the large space of the magic ring. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. At this point, there are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, and draw through in once. The first single crochet is now complete. The braid on the upper right corresponds to the stitch. which is this V shape formed by 2 strands. Each subsequent stitch will have its corresponding stitch. First, mark this spot with a stitch marker. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a paperclip or safety pin as a substitute. Continue crocheting downward. Insert the hook into the large space. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over, and pull through both loops on the hook. This is the second stitch. You need to work 7 stitches in total for this round. Continue crocheting using this method. Third stitch. Fourth stitch. Fifth stitch. Sixth stitch. Seventh stitch. The corresponding stitch pattern in the chart is now complete. Once everything is finished, close the magic ring. There will be 2 loops remaining. First, gently pull the starting tail. You'll see 1 loop become active. Locate the movable loop. Tighten it. There will still be 1 loop left. Pull the starting tail tight. This secures the loop. Then, on this current round, slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch to finish. That is, crochet at the stitch marker's position. Insert the hook. Yarn over, draw the yarn through, and draw through all loops on the hook in once. The slip stitch is complete. This is the chain formed by the slip stitch. It does not count as a stitch. You need to tighten it. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. In reality, when crocheting in rounds, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and tighten the yarn. The first round is now completed. Move on to the second round. Our 2 is 7V. The number before the V indicates how many 2 single crochets into the same stitch to make in a row. This means you will work that many 2 single crochets into the same stitch consecutively. Here, it means to work 7 SC2 in 1 in a row. Work 1 chain as beginning chain. Let me emphasize this again. At the start of each round, work a standing stitch. I won't repeat this for the following rounds. In the first stitch of the previous round, work 1 2 single crochets into the same stitch. That is, at the spot where you insert your hook for the slip stitch, work 2 single crochets in that same spot. Place the starting tail above the hook as you crochet, and weave it in along the way. For 1 stitch, place a marker. Insert the hook again into the same stitch, and work a single crochet. Pay attention to weaving in the yarn tail. For 2 stitches, the 2 single crochets into the same stitch is completed. Continue working a 2 single crochets into the same stitch, in the stitch on the left. Insert your hook, and work 2 single crochets. The second 2 single crochets into the same stitch is now completed. In this round, you need to work 7 SC2 in 1 in total. There are 5 more to go. Work all stitches using the method of making 2 single crochets into each stitch. After completing the last 2 single crochets into the same stitch, let's check the stitch count. Start counting from the stitch marker position. 1, 2, 3. 13, 14. There are a total of 14 stitches in this round. The total number of stitches for each round is indicated in the corresponding table. I won't mention it further as we move along. Next, slip stitch into the first stitch. Please be mindful. At the end of every round, you need to slip stitch it to the first stitch. Insert your hook into the stitch marker. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. And draw through all loops on the hook once. Slip stitch completed. Tighten it up. You can cut off the extra yarn tail directly from the beginning chain. That completes the second round. Continue with rounds 3 and 4. For these 2 rounds, work even 14 single crochets. This means for each round, you will work 1 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 14 stitches. Let's start with round 3. Work 1 single crochet. Place a marker. For convenience in finding the slip stitch position later, mark the first stitch of every round. Pick up the stitches below. Work single crochets evenly without increasing or decreasing. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. That completes the third round. You can take a look now. The texture on the right side of the fabric is clear. The texture on the back side is blurry. For the rest of the work, crochet entirely on the right side. After completion, continue with the same method for the fourth round. The technique is relatively simple. I won't demonstrate it. You can complete this round on your own. After finishing, move on to the fifth round. Round 5, 1-2x. This means in this round you need to make 1 invisible single crochet 2 stitches together. Then work 12 single crochets. Start with the invisible single crochet 2 stitches together. Insert the hook into the first stitch. Pick up the strand closer to the right side. Remove the stitch marker here. Then insert the hook into the next stitch on the left. Pick up the strand closer to the right side again. There should be 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. You will have 2 loops remaining on the hook. Yarn over again, and draw through in once. The invisible single crochet 2 stitches together is completed. This method of picking up only the strand closer to the right side for a decrease is called an invisible decrease. When you crochet using this technique, the gaps between stitches are smaller. The fabric overall looks more delicate. Mark this stitch. Continue working even without increasing or decreasing. Crochet 12 single crochets. Pay attention, from now on, you will be picking up stitches and crocheting. At the end, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. The 5th round is now completed. Move on to the 6th round. Work even for 13 times. So just work one single crochet in each stitch. The method is relatively simple. I won't demonstrate it. Please complete this round on your own. Next, work the 7th round. You will need to decrease in the middle. Work even for 6 single crochets. After completing, work an invisible single crochet 2 stitches together. Crochet through the loops of the stitches one by one. Pass through the adjacent 2 stitch loops. Use the thread closer to the right side. Yarn over. Pull through the first 2 loops on your hook sequentially. Repeat this process twice. 1 time. 2 times. Single crochet decrease completed. Pick up the stitch from behind. Work 5 single crochets evenly. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. The 7th round is now complete. Next, work even in single crochets for 1 round. For the following round, decrease by 1 stitch. Alternate crocheting. Complete the required number of rounds. The exact decrease positions and stitch counts here can be found in the corresponding table. The stitch techniques have been demonstrated earlier. I won't continue with the demonstration here. There are 2 legs here. After completing 1 leg, you need to break the yarn. I will demonstrate the method using a sample swatch. Finish the corresponding number of rounds. Break the yarn. Crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. Pay attention, don't cut the yarn for the other leg. The 2 legs are now completed. Proceed with connecting them. Continue crocheting the body at the same time. Start by connecting. Pick up the leg that hasn't been cut. Continue with the previous yarn tail. Crochet 6 chain stitches. Then pick up the other leg. Locate the previous yarn break position. Insert from the left side of the yarn tail, where the previous slip stitch was inserted. Make a slip stitch. And pull tight. Now the 2 legs are connected. Move on to crochet the first round of the body. Start with a beginning chain. Then pick up the same position as the previous slip stitch. Work 1 single crochet. Pay attention to weaving in the yarn tail. And make a mark. After completing, pick up the stitches. Work single crochets evenly into each stitch. Complete the single crochets for this leg. Cut off any excess tails, or tuck it inside the fabric. Move down to the connecting chain stitch position. At this point, the back of the chain is facing you. Flatten the braid. Then pick up the chain stitch loop. Select the strand that is closer to the top. Crochet 1 single crochet. After completing, continue onward. Pick up the chain braid again. This time select the half loop on the top. Work 1 single crochet into each stitch. There are 6 chain stitches here. Correspondingly make 6 single crochets. After completing, bring the other leg with the right side facing you. Then start from the single crochet next to the connecting position. Pick up the stitches and work single crochets into each stitch. If there was a stitch marker on this leg before, remove it now. Continue crocheting. After finishing, move on to the other side of the connecting chain. Here, pick up the remaining half of the chain stitches. This is where the previous single crochet was worked. Let me point out the position here. Pick up these 2 strands of yarn. Work 6 single crochets, 1 into each stitch. After completing, you can check the stitch count. Be mindful not to add or miss any stitches. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. This completes the first round of the body. Next, we will crochet the second round. Starting from this round. For the male version of the toy, in the next several rounds, you need to change colors while crocheting. However, the stitch techniques for both versions are identical. Here, in the male version's chart, there is a 4x marked. The color is different from the others. This indicates that the color should be changed at the position of these 4 single crochets. I will demonstrate the color changing method for the male version using a sample swatch. At the same time, this is for convenient explanation. I will follow the order of the yarn used for crocheting. The previous yarn will be referred to as the main color. The new yarn added later will be called the contrasting color. Note that the female version is entirely crocheted using the main color yarn. Refer to the chart. Start by crocheting with the main color yarn. First, make a beginning chain. Work 10 single crochets evenly without increasing or decreasing. Then, do 1-2 single crochets into the same stitch. followed by 2 single crochets. 1, 2 single crochets into the same stitch. 2 single crochets. 1, 2 single crochets into the same stitch. For the female version of the toy, continue crocheting with the main color yarn. Work 15 single crochets evenly without increasing or decreasing. For the male version, use the main color to crochet 11 single crochets. Then use the contrasting color to crochet 4 single crochets. The color change should happen at the last stitch of the main color. So, we start with the main color yarn. Work 10 single crochets into each corresponding stitch. After completing, move down to the last stitch of the main color. Start changing colors here. First, work an incomplete single crochet with the main color. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. There will be 2 loops on your hook. This is the incomplete single crochet. Next, pick up the contrasting color yarn. For the sample, I'll randomly use one color for demonstration. Refer to the chart for specific colors. Leave a little yarn tail. Wrap the yarn around your left hand. Place it behind the incomplete single crochet. Yarn over the hook. Draw through the 2 loops on the hook in once. This completes the single crochet, and at the same time, the color change is complete. Continue downward using the contrasting color. Work 4 single crochets into each corresponding stitch. While crocheting, bring the main color yarn to the last stitch position using the weaving method. Carry it to the last stitch. Weave in the short yarn tail so it's hidden inside the fabric. Complete the last single crochet, join it with the first stitch using a slip stitch. You don't need to carry the yarn here at the slip stitch point. Pull tight. This completes the second round of the body. Continue downward to work the third round. For the female version, use the main color yarn directly. Refer to the chart for the stitch pattern and crochet accordingly. Here, I'm demonstrating the male version. For the female version in subsequent rounds, I won't repeat the instructions. From now on, I will only explain the male version. In the chart, the starting single crochet is in the contrasting color. However, the next 10 adjacent single crochets are in the main color. So, you need to change colors at the beginning. Start by picking up the previous yarn tail. Start with a beginning chain. Then use the contrasting color yarn. Work an incomplete single crochet. Next, pick up the main color yarn. Yarn over and draw the yarn through to complete the stitch. This completes the color change. Leave the contrasting color in place here. You will need the contrasting color for the last few stitches of the next round. Continue using the main color yarn moving forward. Follow the stitch pattern as shown in the chart. Keep it going. Since the last 5 stitches are worked in the contrasting color, switch colors at the last stitch of the main color as well. That would be at the 6th to last stitch. After completing that, move on to where you reach the last stitch of the main color. Start changing colors here. Work an incomplete single crochet with the main color first. there will be 2 loops on your hook. This is the incomplete single crochet. Then pick up the contrasting color. Pull it behind the incomplete stitch. Make sure not to pull it too tight or too loose here. Keep the fabric flat. Yarn over the hook. Draw the yarn through. This completes the color change. Continue downward using the contrasting color. Work 5 single crochets evenly. Since the starting position of the next round is here, you will need the main color yarn here. Use the weaving method to bring the main color yarn over. There is a thread mark here as well. Weave both into the fabric together. Finally, join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. Pull tight. That completes the third round. You can see that every color change happens on the last stitch of the corresponding yarn. Work an incomplete single crochet for the color change, then switch colors. Next, work on the fourth round. This round starts with 2 stitches in contrasting color. So first, make 1 single crochet with the contrasting color. After completing it, the adjacent stitch is the last one in contrasting color. The following stitch should be in main color. That's where you need to change colors. The method is pretty simple. I won't go into too much detail about it. After finishing, continue with the main color. Work single crochets evenly. The table shows 6 single crochets afterward. Then switch to the contrasting color for crocheting. Similarly, change colors at the last stitch of the corresponding yarn. So work 5 single crochets evenly first. Carry the contrasting color yarn. After completing, change colors at the next stitch. Then crochet 2 single crochets with the contrasting color. You'll need to switch back to the main color, so we change colors at the second stitch. Work a single crochet first. Carry the main color yarn. Then change colors at the next stitch. Moving forward, refer to the stitch pattern in the table. Change colors at the last stitch of the corresponding yarn. Both the main color and contrasting color yarns should be carried, when not in use. Repeat this process. Continue crocheting downward. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. This completes the fourth round. Continue crocheting for the rounds below. For the fifth round, Use the same method as the 4th round, but change the position of the color changes from the 6th to the 17th round. In these rounds, each round only has 2 color changes. Both the beginning and ending are contrasting colors. There is a section of main color yarn between the 2 contrasting colors. After completing the main color section of the 6th round, leave it in place. Do not carry the yarn. When you need to switch back to the main color in the next round, simply pull the yarn over and change colors. As you crochet, hide the pulled thread along the edge. Pay attention to keeping the fabric flat while pulling the yarn. Don't make it too tight or too loose. Follow the same method for the rest of the rounds. Do not carry the main color yarn after switching it out. For the next round, directly pull the yarn over and switch colors. Repeat this process all the way until round 17. For the remaining rounds of the male version, use the main color yarn to crochet. In that case, you need to fasten off the contrasting color yarn. Note that the last part of round 17 uses the contrasting color. After completing this round, follow the same method used for fastening off the yarn on the legs. Then fasten off the yarn accordingly. When starting the next round, simply pull the main color yarn over and start crocheting. Since there will be decreases starting from round 18, and the shaping wire needs to be inserted into the body. For convenience in making, we insert the shaping wire before starting the decreases. I'll demonstrate the installation method of the shaping wire using a sample swatch. Pay attention to the process of making the body from this point onward, as the method is the same for both versions. Pick up 2 shaping wires, each about 16 centimeters long, and bend a small portion at one end of each. Then put together the fabric to compare it. In the body area, near the centered position, combine the 2 shaping wires. Twist them slightly to secure in place. Then adjust according to the fabric. Next, insert it into the leg and body sections. This completes the installation of the shaping wire for the body. Then pick up another shaping wire, about 15 centimeters long. Insert it into the side seam of the body. Place the 2 legs of the body side by side. Press the opening flat. Then, from one of the folded points, pick up a stitch and insert at the position roughly corresponding to the shaping wire. Pass through. Then exit from the single crochet stitch at the other folded point. Adjust the length slightly. Next, bend the ends of the shaping wire inward. You can also bend them downward if needed, to avoid poking yourself while crocheting. I won't demonstrate that part. This completes the installation of the shaping wire for the arm. Continue crocheting downward. For round 18 onward, just follow the chart directly. While crocheting, when you reach the shaping wire position, pick up the corresponding single crochet stitch and continue crocheting. In the chart, refer to rounds 19 and 20. Parentheses appear. Here, the parentheses indicate a group. The number outside the parentheses indicates how many times to repeat the group. It indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. For example, round 19 is X, A, X, asterisk 6. This means 1 single crochet, 1 invisible single crochet 2 stitches together, and 1 single crochet, forming a group. Then repeat this group 6 times. That is, crochet 6 groups of this stitch pattern. The same logic applies to round 20. I won't go into detailed explanations. After completing round 19 or 20, you need to add stuffing. I'll demonstrate the method using a sample swatch. Pick up the stuffing, fluff up the stuffing and stuff it in. The stuffing should be even and firmly stuffed. You can use the crochet hook to assist if needed. Start by stuffing the legs first, then move on to stuffing the body. That completes the stuffing process. Continue crocheting from this point onward. The stitch patterns for the remaining parts are relatively simple, so I won't explain them in detail. Refer to the chart for more information. Just crochet the required number of rounds as indicated. You can continue stuffing while crocheting later on. For the last few rounds, crochet evenly without increasing or decreasing. No stuffing is needed for these rounds. At the same time, compare the height with the shaping wire. Stop crocheting when you reach a height similar to the shaping wire. Since everyone's tension may vary, you don't have to strictly follow the number of rounds in the table. After completing the required number of rounds, close the opening. Below, I'll demonstrate the method using a small sample. First, fasten off the yarn using the previous method. Leave a longer tail here, about 10 centimeters long. Then thread the yarn into a sewing needle. Next, pick up the final round one by one. Pick up the front loop of each stitch. That is, the strand closer to the right side. After completing, pull the yarn tight. Finally, weave the tail end into the fabric. You can hide it for a few more stitches. This way, the closing is done. At the same time, the explanation for making the body is complete. Next, we'll make the arms and tail. The making method is the same. Work even in rounds with the corresponding number of single crochets. The only difference between arms and tail is the stitch count. Still start with the magic ring. For exact stitch and round numbers, refer directly to the chart. Because there are fewer stitches in each round, the fabric will naturally curl as you crochet. You can turn the right side out before slip stitching in round 2. Then flip the fabric so the front faces outward. Continue by crocheting the slip stitch. Make sure to check the stitches clearly in each round before proceeding. After completing, fasten off the yarn using the previously shown method. Leave a slightly longer yarn tail, about 20 centimeters, which will be used for sewing later. Moving forward, follow the method you learned earlier, and refer to the chart. Complete the arms and tail on your own. Next, we'll make the head. You'll need to start over with a new beginning. Again, use the magic ring technique. Crochet counterclockwise in a circular pattern outward. Start by crocheting the first 13 rounds with 2 corresponding colors. All the stitch techniques used here have been demonstrated earlier. There are also parentheses shown in the table. Their meaning is the same as the parentheses in the body section. The stitches inside the parentheses form one group. Asterisk number means you repeat that group X times. The method is relatively simple, so I won't demonstrate it here. Refer to the chart for guidance. You can complete the first 13 rounds on your own. After completion, start crocheting round 14. 2 new stitch techniques will be needed here. W 3 single crochets into the same stitch. M single crochet 3 stitches together. Here, I'll demonstrate the method with a sample swatch. First, continue with the previous yarn tail. Crochet the corresponding number of single crochets evenly. Refer to the table for the exact stitch count. After finishing, look for the W symbol below. Correspondingly crochet 3 single crochets into one stitch. Insert the hook into the adjacent stitch. Crochet 3 single crochets into one chain space. 1, 2, 3. Completing 3 single crochets into one stitch is done. Increase with a 2 single crochets into the same stitch in the adjacent stitch. Crochet accordingly. After completion, look for the M symbol. Correspondingly crochet 3 single crochets together as one stitch. Insert the hook into the stitches of 3 adjacent single crochets respectively. Pay attention, here you directly pick up the stitch. It's not picking up the front loop. Then correspondingly make 3 incomplete single crochets. 1, 2, 3. At this point, there are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through in once. Complete the 3 single crochets together as one stitch. Then move on to crochet a 2 single crochets into the same stitch. For the next 3 single crochets into the same stitch, crochet 3 single crochets into one chain space. After completing, work even with single crochets. Finish crocheting the remaining part. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. This completes the 14th round. Then continue to refer to the chart for the next steps. Crochet round 15 accordingly. The method is relatively simple, so I won't go into detail about it. After completing that, move on to crochet round 16. Here, I'll continue demonstrating with the sample swatch. Start by working single crochets evenly in each stitch according to the required amount. Refer specifically to the chart for details. After completion, work 3 single crochets together as one stitch. The method is the same as before. Pick up 3 adjacent stitches. Correspondingly work incomplete single crochets. Then yarn over, and draw through all loops on the hook once. This completes the invisible single crochet 2 stitches together of 3 stitches into 1. After finishing, work another invisible single crochet 2 stitches together of 3 stitches into 1. The next stitch is a 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Then connect, and work 2 more invisible single crochet 2 stitches together of 3 stitches into 1. Finally, work even with single crochets for the remaining section. Finish crocheting the remaining part. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. That completes the 16th round. Continue crocheting from here on. From now on, you only need to work single crochets and invisible single crochet 2 stitches together. Here, the invisible single crochet 2 stitches together follows the bodice technique. Crochet an invisible single crochet 2 stitches together. This means picking up the stitch. Choose the strand closer to the right side and proceed with crocheting. For the exact decrease positions and stitch counts, please refer to the chart directly. Pay attention from round 18 until the end. The male version requires a color change, and the color change doesn't happen within one round. The female version does not require a color change. Continue crocheting with the previous yarn. Here, I'll demonstrate the color change using a sample swatch. Note that the female version can also learn the color changing technique here. The female version will need this method later on. After completing round 17, use the previous method for fastening off the yarn to break it. Then, starting from round 18, pick up the color you need to switch to. Here, I'll randomly choose a color for demonstration purposes. Make a slip knot with the new yarn. Find the marked position from the previous round. Insert your hook and draw the loop through. Adjust it slightly. Then make a standing stitch. Next, refer to the chart for crocheting. While crocheting, pay attention to weaving in the ends. The crochet method moving forward is relatively simple, so I won't demonstrate it here. This is the color changing technique. After completing round 21 or 22 of the head, you'll need to stuff it. The amount is up to you. Just make sure it's about as firm as the body. At the same time, since the last few rounds of the head need to be tucked inside, leave a small gap in the center while stuffing. Use a needle or your fingers to press the stuffing toward the edges. The method is pretty simple, so I won't demonstrate it here. After completing the required number of rounds, tuck the cylindrical part inside. Push it all the way in. That concludes the explanation for making the head. Next, we'll make the ears. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds. The female version is crocheted in one color. The male version requires a color change while crocheting. The color changing method is similar to that of the body. Change colors within one round. And just like before, you only need to change colors twice in one round. One color at the beginning and end. another color in the middle. While crocheting, you only need to carry the thread for the beginning and ending colors. After changing the centered color, put it back in place. For the next round, simply pull the yarn over and change colors. When finishing the last round with a color change, you need to carry the yarn. Trim the carried yarn when ending with a slip stitch. When changing colors here, if you encounter an increase stitch, change the color on the second single crochet of the increase. That is, when crocheting the second short needle of the increase, switch the color at that point. Replace the single crochet with an incomplete single crochet, then change the color. The color changing method for the remaining parts is the same as before. I won't demonstrate it here. Refer to the chart for details. You can complete the crocheting of the ears on your own. Note that the ears do not need stuffing. After finishing, leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters. That concludes the explanation of how to make the ears. Next, we will assemble the pieces. First, attach the arms and tail to the corresponding positions on the body. Then attach the ears to the corresponding positions on the head. Finally, simply fit the head onto the body. Next, we will brush the fur. First, let's attach the arms. Here, I'm demonstrating with a small swatch. First, compare the shaping wire of the arms with the sides of the body. The length of the shaping wires on both sides is consistent here. If there is any excess part of the shaping wire, you can continue to bend the excess part, or you can cut it off. Once done, slip it onto the arm. Then use the reserved yarn from the arm to pick up the corresponding position on the body and sew them together. There's no specific requirement for the sewing method here. Just make sure it's sewn securely. At the same time, sew it tightly. This way, the fabric won't move easily. After sewing, hide the excess tail inside the fabric. You can weave in a few extra stitches if you like. This completes the installation of one arm. The other arm is done the same way. I will not repeat the demonstration. You can finish installing the other arm on your own. Next, attach the tail. Here you need to insert a shaping wire. Take a shaping wire slightly longer than the tail. Bend one end a little bit. Then insert it into the tail. Afterward, locate the back of the body. The male version is the side without the main color. For the female version, you can look for the slip stitch marks. Find rows 4 to 5. Locate the middle position of the body. Insert the extra shaping wire into the tail. Then use the reserved yarn to pick up the edge and sew it on. Similarly, the tail should be sewn tightly. The sewing technique is the same as for the arm. I will not demonstrate this part here. You can complete the sewing of the tail on your own. Next, we'll attach the ears. Pick up the head first. You'll see that one side of the fabric has areas that stand out a bit. This is where we previously worked a cluster of 3 double crochet stitches together, and place 3 stitches in one spot. Make sure the side with the raised areas faces you, and position it directly in front of you. Now find both sides of row 4 at the top of the head. Look for the gaps. Place stitch markers symmetrically. Then find the gaps in round 8. Match these points with the previously marked ones. Mark the positions. This is the area where you'll sew the ears on. Once the positions are marked, start sewing downward. Here, I'm demonstrating with a small swatch, and in the actual project, the male version has color changes for the ears. Make sure the main color side faces forward. For the female version, the ears don't have color changes. Simply fold the fabric along the yarn tail, matching the front and back sides. Then place it at the marked position, on the top of the head. In my swatch, I'm demonstrating with the male version's ears. Align one end of the ear with the marked position. Then use the reserved yarn tail to sew through the marked area. Here, the ear curves slightly inward on the front side. There's no specific requirement for the sewing method, just make sure it's sewn securely. After finishing, hide the excess yarn tail inside the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches for security. That's it, one ear is now attached. Do the same for the other ear. I won't repeat the demonstration. You can complete the attachment of the other ear on your own. If you want a fuzzy effect, you can brush the main piece to achieve that look. This means evenly brushing the surface to make it fuzzy. Here, I'll demonstrate the method with my swatch. Pay attention. Brush from the bottom upwards in one direction. Every spot needs to be brushed. The fuzz doesn't need to be too long here, just achieve a slightly fuzzy effect. Follow this method to brush both the body and the head. Finally, simply place the head on top of the body. Here, the head and body are movable. No securing is needed. That's it for the explanation of the main bodice creation. Next, we'll make and attach the clothing. It includes a robe, a hat, and prayer beads. Let's start with making the robe. The robe is divided into the main piece, patterns, sleeves, collar and shawl collar. Start by crocheting the main body. After completing it, pick the corresponding positions to crochet the sleeves and collar. Then, create and attach the patterns in the designated areas. Finally, make the shawl collar. Begin with making the main piece. Pick up the corresponding yarn. Refer specifically to the actual project or chart. Make a slip knit with the yarn. Place it onto the crochet hook. Pull tight slightly. Then start crocheting 24 chain stitches. After completing them, you can see that the right side of the chains forms V-shaped braids. Circle the chains to form a loop. Make sure the right side is facing you. Be mindful not to twist the chains. Use the crochet hook to pick up the half loop from the top of the first chain. With this strand of yarn, crochet 1 slip stitch. And pull tight. This completes the starting chain. Now move on to the first round. Crochet even with single crochets, without increasing or decreasing. Start with a turning chain. Then insert the hook below, into the hole where the slip stitch was previously worked. Crochet 1 single crochet. After completing it, continue. Work from left to right, picking up the loops of the chains, specifically the half loops on top. Work 1 single crochet into each stitch. While crocheting, pay attention to weaving in the yarn tail. Finish crocheting the top of the last chain. Everyone, check the stitch count. The number of single crochets should match the starting chain. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pull tight. This completes the first round. For the following rounds, refer to the chart. Proceed with crocheting the second round. The stitch techniques have all been demonstrated before. I won't demonstrate them here. After completing, move on to crocheting the third round. Continue with the previous yarn tail. Crochet 6 single crochets. After finishing, make 3 chain stitches. Skip 8 single crochets below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Start from the next single crochet. Crochet 12 single crochets. After completing, make 3 chain stitches. Skip 8 stitches below as well. There are 6 stitches remaining from here on. Work 1 single crochet into each stitch. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. This completes the third round. The holes on both sides are the insertion points for the sleeves. Below is the fourth round of crocheting. It consists of even single crochets. Work single crochets into each single crochet position. When you encounter a chain stitch position, pick up the chain stitch loop. Insert the hook into the back loop on the top. Work single crochets evenly. For the following single crochet positions, work single crochets evenly. At the chain stitch position, pick up the back loop of the V-shaped loop. Correspondingly, make a single crochet. Repeat this process. Finish crocheting the remaining part. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. That's how you complete the fourth round. Continue crocheting downward. The stitch techniques used afterward will be the same as before. The crocheting methods have already been demonstrated earlier, so I won't continue with the demonstration here. Pay attention, a hole also needs to be left at the end of the 14th round of the main piece. The method is identical to the third round. It's just in a different position. Here, you need to crochet 4 chain stitches at the end. At the same time, skip 4 stitches at the bottom without crocheting. After completing, pick up the first stitch and make a slip stitch. In the next round, when you encounter chain stitches, still pick up the back loop of the chain stitches. Correspondingly, make single crochets for each stitch. Since the last round requires a color change, break the yarn after finishing the second to last round here. For the last round, join the yarn using the method for changing colors at the head. Then crochet as usual. The method is relatively simple. I will not repeat the demonstration. After completing the required number of rounds, you need to finish off. Here, I'll demonstrate the method with a small sample. After crocheting the last round, slip stitch into the first stitch. There's no need to pull the slip stitch tight here. Gently stretch the loop a little larger. Leave a yarn tail of about 5 centimeters. Cut the yarn. Then, from the stitch marker position, count 2 chains to the left. 1, 2. Insert the crochet hook from the back of this chain. Hook the reserved yarn to the back. Then insert the hook from the back into the chain formed by the slip stitch. This is the chain below the yarn tail. Pick up the front loop of the chain and insert. Draw the yarn through. Adjust slightly. For the excess yarn tail, use a crochet hook or darning needle to hide it inside the fabric. This completes the finishing of the edges. This way, the edge of the fabric will look neater. Up to this point, the tutorial for making the main body of the garment is complete. Next, we will work on the sleeves and collar. Let's start with the sleeves. Here, pick up the stitches from the holes in round 3 of the main piece and begin crocheting. Make sure the right side of the main piece faces out. Then pick up the yarn in the same color as the main piece. For convenience while watching, I'll use a different color for demonstration. Make a slip knot with the yarn. Locate the position of 3 chain stitches in the hole. Pick the centered chain stitch. For the remaining half side, find the previous single crochet insertion point. Insert your hook and pull the loop through. Adjust slightly. Then make a starting chain. Next, crochet 1 single crochet stitch. After completing it, continue by moving left, picking up the remaining half of the adjacent chain stitch. Crochet 1 single crochet stitch. Later, when you reach the position of the 8 stitches that were skipped before, follow the pattern of 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Repeat this pattern 4 times. Here, pick up the stitch and crochet. After completing, move down to the chain stitch position. There is 1 chain stitch remaining here. Pick up its remaining half. Crochet 1 single crochet stitch. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. This completes the first round of the sleeve. Continue crocheting afterward. Refer directly to the chart for subsequent crocheting. While crocheting the main body, you need to change colors. Similarly, break the yarn at the end of a round. Join the yarn at the beginning of the next round to perform the color change. The method was demonstrated earlier. I won't go into detail here. You can complete the remaining part of the sleeve on your own. Both sleeves are made using the same method. I won't explain the other sleeve in detail. That concludes the explanation of making the sleeves. Next, we will make the collar. Work even with single crochets. The method is relatively simple. I won't demonstrate it. Let me explain the method. For the collar, pick up stitches from the edge of the main body. Start with a beginning chain on one side. Join the yarn using the previous color change method. Then pick up the chain stitches. For the remaining half side, crochet along the first round of the main body. Insert the hook into the corresponding chain space. Work 1 single crochet into each stitch. The collar has only 1 round. The number of stitches for the collar should be the same as the starting chain of the main body. Pay attention, when crocheting, keep the right side facing you. Start crocheting from the position where there are slip stitch marks on the main body. After completing, fasten off using the same method as for the main body. This way, the edge will look neater. From here, finish crocheting the collar on your own.